Welcome to the 20 Podcast, bringing you interviews with the best DJs, producers, and music industry professionals from around the globe. I'm your host, DJ Spider. DJ Spider! What's going on, Beatsourcers? What's happening, everybody? How are you feeling? Good, I hope. Getting to the end of the year, guys. The holiday season. I know it can be stressful. I hope your gigs are fruitful and full of amazing experiences. Thank you guys for tuning in week after week. This podcast is brought to you by Beatsource. Beatsource streaming is an amazing thing that we have got on Beatsource.com. It gives you the ability to DJ from the cloud. We've got these constantly updated playlists made by our expert curators. We've got all types of genres. We've got all types of edits that cannot be found anywhere else. And Beatsource is the spot, okay? You can do crazy things. You can utilize it in Serato with the stems. You can utilize it inside of the hardware. Go on Beatsource.com to learn more. You're going to love it. I used it at a corporate gig last week, and it was incredible, okay? I will say, real life use. I had some of the playlists, some of the corporate playlists, some of the holiday playlists. I was able to pick from those, use intros they had, and it was great. So go on Beatsource.com. I'm sure they got some kind of free trial situation. Hit that up. Now, on the show today, we have a DJ with 20 plus years experience, but he is also killing it in this new world of social media and DJ related posts. With nearly 2 million followers across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, he has been able to be his authentic self and post DJ blends, mixes, and related content to grow his following and build his DJ career. We discuss public speaking and personal development. He gives us some different things that have helped him along the way, books, classes, and things that were really interesting. We talk tips on social media posting, going viral, which he knows a lot about, building your own company, building your own personal brand online, and how that translates to bigger and better gigs, whether TikTok's going to help you more, whether Instagram's going to help you more, all of that we discuss. We talk about how to raise your DJ rates, which I think is not discussed enough, balancing family and DJ life, which is what a lot of us have to deal with. And I also need to shout out Boise, Idaho. Yes, he taught me to say it Boise. I guess that's the local way, because I think this is the first time we've had someone from that part of the country. So shout out to Idaho. Shout out to this man right here. Please welcome to the show, DJ Eric Rhodes. All right, we're here. It's the 20 Podcast. We are live and direct from Beverly Hills, California, with the one and only DJ Eric Rhodes. Make some noise. Let's go.
Yeah.
What up? What up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming out here and doing this.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. You are out here from Boise, Idaho, right?
Boise, Idaho. Yeah, Boise if you're
Boise.
local.
Okay, Boise.
Yes.
It's like I want to say it the correct way.
Yeah.
You're probably the first Idaho DJ we've had on the 20 Podcast. I think we've hit many countries, continents, states, and you're the first person from Idaho, Boise, on the podcast. So thanks for making it happen. I'm so glad we got to do it in person. You just explained to me why you were out here, which I didn't even realize. I thought because you did a gig in Vegas on Wednesday, and I know we had the Beatport party last night that you came out for, and I thought, oh, maybe you just popped out here to do this, which I appreciate, but you were telling me your family's out here too, and you're going to be here for some family events for the weekend, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter has a cheer competition in Anaheim.
Amazing.
So I was like, yeah, let's just combine this trip and make the most of it.
That's how to do it. That's what I've been doing with my life too. I try to combine, the DJ dad life, and for all the DJs out there that have a family, the best thing to do is try to combine everything together. I feel like it's great for us, kind of shows your kids in a way that you can still live your life and follow your dreams and still support them and still make your stuff happen, so.
Absolutely. It's been a learning year for me.
Right.
Going from just doing events in Idaho to traveling all over the country.
Right.
And balancing this family life with the DJ life, and having opportunities like this is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I don't have it down. You know what I mean? I've been experiencing that for a long time, but it's, it's hard. You know, there's no like right answer to it. I think you just kind of judge it. But I think that there was times where I put so much time and effort into my job that I would be like, there's no way I'll never stay home. I'll never go to any event for like my wife or kid or anything. And since the pandemic, I've really made more of a effort to do that kind of stuff because those memories are the things that will never go away. And some gigs are once in a lifetime, but some you'll do again, so
yeah,
it's good to be with your fam.
100%. I think without them, DJing would not be rewarding. If I didn't have my family, I didn't have that love at home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I only stayed home, then I'd be wishing I was out and about.
Yes.
So it's like it's that balance.
It is a balance, and it's hard to find. We've had other mother DJs, father DJs, on here, and it's been really cool to get all their different perspectives and see how they handle it.
Yeah.
But I think the main through line is spend time with your kids and your spouse if you're still, that's important to you. And it's an important thing to do. But yeah, so like you said, you've been really thrown into this traveling world and doing these other big events. So let's go back and give people that don't know much about you a little info on who you are and what you do. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was raised in Idaho, small town, maybe 20,000 people, but I was always really into music.
And what was the city? What town?
Lewiston.
Okay.
Lewiston, Idaho.
All right.
Right on the confluence of the Snake and Clearwater River that turns into the Columbia that takes you to the ocean.
Sounds beautiful.
Idaho, Washington. It is. It's a beautiful state.
Idaho, Washington kind of border.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yep. So grew up there, always into music.
Yeah.
Was always the kid that like had mixtapes, mixed CDs. I wasn't good at basketball, but I'd make the CDs to hype them up before the game.
Nice.
But I never was a DJ.
Right. Where did that come from, that music influence that you were into that so much?
My mom was really into music.
Okay.
So I grew up on 80s music.
All right.
Michael Jackson, NXS, Madonna, just
Classic.
pop music. She loved pop music.
Yeah.
But had Elton John records and things from the 60s and 70s. So
right.
I was just fascinated with that music, records, playing with their vinyl. But yeah, so I grew up on that, and then got to college, went to a rave.
Okay.
Yeah, when Rave C 99, I think it was.
Right.
2000-ish.
Okay.
And I saw two DJs from Seattle, all vinyl sets, going back and forth on 4 decks, and I just was enthralled.
Amazing.
In that. And the next day I took student loan money, which I wouldn't recommend you do. Well, maybe you do. It worked for me.
Yeah.
But I took student loan money, bought turntables, records, little junkie mixer, and just went for it.
Amazing. Do you remember who those DJs were or no?
Sean Lowe and I can't remember who the other one was.
Okay. Well, shout to Sean
They
Lowe.
were legends back then, man. They were
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's so dope. It was funny. I was with Steve Wonder last night, and me and him used to do 4 turntable vinyl sets. That was like our thing, and pre-Serato, and that was like our way to be able to be like, all right, I'm going to do 2 instrumentals. You do the acapella, then you bring in that next song. And that was like the only way to make these ideas happen as DJs, and then when Serato came out, we were like, oh my God, we can just have the acapella, and do these other things. So it was such an interesting thing. And it was funny because I've seen the resurgence of vinyl now. It's so interesting. Like there's so many places opening that are vinyl only, or DJs doing vinyl sets, and I've been asked to do vinyl sets, and I got asked to do one next Monday, and I'm like, I don't even know where, I'm like, if I'm getting back into that, I want to go to 45s. Like, I don't want to bring all the crates anymore. I thought we got away from that, but I was telling Steve, I'm like, we need to bust out our 2x4 routines that we used to do, be like, all right, this is what we used to do on vinyl if you really want to see,
For sure. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's such a funny thing that was very similar for me too. Like I went to raves in the 90s and I thought they were making the music at first. And then I remember seeing same thing, 2x4, like I think RAW and DJ Trance, or these guys would do it. And same thing, that I was like, I want to do that. Like I need to figure out, they're manipulating the records, and I loved hip hop, but then seeing them do it with dance music and mix it together, it was just like such an eye-opening, inspirational thing for me as well. So similar path. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So then you went to raves, you got into all that, and took the student loan money, bought the equipment, and just started practicing in your room and just
Sure. And
like
surrounding myself with other DJs, trying to learn. This was at the University of Idaho, which is right across from Washington State University. So
and were there many other DJs? I mean,
there was a good scene of DJs back then up there. Yeah, a lot of guys coming in from Seattle. I think some from Boise.
Okay.
We're going to school up there. So I learned a lot from them. Yeah. Just spinning house tracks, a little bit of drum and bass, break beats.
Right.
Got into that. House was my jam. So I ended up going that route and just it was a hobby. I just did it as a hobby.
Of course.
Moved to Boise in 2005 and started playing small lounges and bars. But it was I stuck with house music, indie dance music. That was kind of my jam in the late 2000s.
Nice.
And loved it. But it was always a hobby to me. I never thought I would get into, say, weddings or corporate events.
Right.
But I had a career in TV news.
Oh, okay.
Locally.
So up till about 2009, you were doing the TV news job.
2007 to 2011, I was in TV news.
Okay. And what were you doing?
I was a videographer, photojournalist, and then I became the producer for 2 years.
Oh,
so I produced the local 9 o'clock news show.
Right.
And it was a cool job, but at the same time, the money wasn't good. The hours were bad. My wife and I were about to have a baby, and I'm like, man, is this the kind of life I want to live?
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old, kind of thinking about my future, and it didn't seem appealing to me.
Yes.
But at the same time, I was doing these DJ gigs on the weekend, loving them, and I thought, you know what? Let's do it. A buddy of mine had me do a wedding. I was reluctantly going to do the wedding. He paid like $500 and I did the wedding and I was like, that actually was kind of fun. Nice. If I could make that full time, I would be much happier than trying to work this job.
Right.
And so that's how I got into it. Started my business in 2011 as Rhodes Entertainment and really haven't looked back since.
That's cool. I mean, that's a huge risk, to be taking from whether the job was maybe not as much money as you wanted, it was still a solid job and something you could depend on. And you're about to have a kid, benefits, exactly all that. Yeah. As a DJ and someone that owns your own business, those are some of the things you don't think about as well, too. I have a family, too. Like, we have to pay for health insurance for everybody. It's not like either of us have the kind of job that covers us. And, there's all those kind of things that you have to factor in. And it's a big risk. You have to have a certain element of faith, right? That things are going to work out, even in the down times, because it's going to be a roller coaster no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother sent me a book when I did that, decided that I was leaving. He sent me a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Okay. And it basically said, you're going to have to be consistent for a long period of time in order to kind of make your vision a reality. Yeah. Basically. Right. And so I just had that. I understood that. I was like, all right, this may be 5 years before I'm actually a full-time DJ. Yeah. Who knows? And it took about 4 or 5 years before I didn't have to wait tables on the side and do these things. Yeah. This crazy lifestyle. Right. But I just believed in it, was consistent, and eventually was able to take it full-time and make it an actual career.
I love that. And the fact that you waited tables and did what you had to do on the side no matter what, just to make this a reality is really cool, and commendable.
Yeah, I just decided, man, I'm not giving up on this. Yeah. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to get where I want to be.
That's incredible.
It took a long time, but it's been a fun journey.
Nice. So you started the company around 2011, 2012, and it was primarily based towards trying to get weddings?
Weddings and corporate events, and some birthday parties, things like that. But it was very weddings are where the money's at.
It was like a mobile, what people call mobile DJ service.
Yeah, I was a mobile DJ.
Right. So that was your life basically, for the past, from about that for 8 to 10 years before you decided to start kind of going hard on social media and posting videos and mashups and those type of things. Was that sort of a big was it you grew the business up until then and then you posted videos on TikTok? Was that during the pandemic or pre?
So I'll backtrack, but yeah, I started May of 2021.
Okay,
so it was right after at the tail
during.
End of it.
Yeah. It was that in
2020 I wasn't posting.
Okay,
when everybody was in their house and
were you streaming or doing anything?
I did a little bit on Facebook, but then they shut all that down after about a month.
Yeah,
so that was about it. I really wasn't heavily involved in streaming during the pandemic until 21. But what happened for me, and I think what's an interesting part of my story is, it seemed like as I got busy enough and popular enough in my market, I was getting too many leads and I couldn't take them all. So the natural next step was to hire DJs and give them business.
Right.
And then I could take a cut and make, so that was the goal. After a couple of years of that, I realized I didn't like managing people. My heart wasn't into it. I wasn't DJing for fun anymore. It was just a grind and I was unhappy. And I decided in 2019 that towards the end, which luckily that happened right before the pandemic, I didn't have a team anymore, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to let you guys go. I want to focus on just my own brand, marketing, DJing, doing things that I love to do.
Yeah.
And I, once again, took that leap of faith and was like, I'm going to lose some money in the beginning, but I think if I just go all in on this, that's when I'm going to be successful. So I had all the time and energy to focus on what I love to do, which is DJing. And like I said, marketing, personal branding, and building relationships, all these things.
Right.
So when it came time in 2021, I had time and energy to want to focus on posting videos. I think if I was still running my business, I might not have put any energy into it and I might not be where I'm at today.
Interesting.
So and I set a goal in 2021, April 2021, I wanted to do 5 to 7 Instagram stories every day for 30 days. And this is like the origin story of it.
Yeah.
And when you're, I work from home. I'm in Boise, Idaho. I'm not doing these, gigs every, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a little slower. What do you post in your stories on a Tuesday afternoon? Like I'm in my sweats, like just doing business shit at my desk.
Yeah.
So I had to start getting creative because I committed to that 30 days and I wanted to promote my Mixcloud mixes. If you do that on Instagram or Facebook and you put a link to your Mixcloud, most likely they're going to not want to show that to people because you're sending them to another app.
Totally.
So how could I do this? So I just propped my phone up in my office in front of my turntables, which is where you see me in my videos.
Okay.
And I just thought, all right, I'm going to show them one transition and maybe that will get them to want to go listen to the Mixcloud mix.
Right.
So I started doing that and instantly got attention from people that normally would not interact with my stories.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, I think I'm onto something here.
And was this your first postings just through an Instagram story?
Just stories.
Okay.
And then my buddy Cam texted me after a couple weeks of doing that. And he's like, bro, these are reels. These aren't stories. These are reels. Put it on Instagram. I was like, okay. Yeah. So I posted my first one. And I never really posted reels. And I just, the people that liked my stuff, I'd get 40 likes on a post. And it was all people I knew.
Right.
When I posted a reel, I started getting attention from a wedding planner in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And people that I'm like, oh, this is a really good opportunity to connect with people outside my market.
Yeah.
So I posted a couple reels, then thought TikTok was on my mind. It had been on my mind for over a year.
So this
I listened to Gary V.
You hadn't even posted on TikTok yet.
Haven't even posted TikTok, but I listened to Gary V during the pandemic and he kept talking about posting to TikTok.
Yeah, totally.
But I never knew what to post.
Right.
Until this. And then I thought, all right, now I'm going to post this video and several others. And within a couple months, I had a video go viral, and it was less than a year that I had almost 1 million followers.
That's
it just
nuts.
So fast. It was
my
crazy.
God.
But it was fun. So that's how it all started.
Amazing. So now you have like 1.3 million on TikTok, right? Or something, and like almost 500,000 on Instagram.
Yep.
Yep. And wow, that's incredible. So the growth on TikTok is just insane, right? When you start doing it, well, it goes back to the consistency in the book that you mentioned and anything, right? You have to. Yeah. It seems like your videos are very consistent. The look of them, the amount of time you spend on the transition and stuff like that, right? And that must just speak to the way they share it with people, and then also the people watching it who enjoy it. It's like a perfect amount of time and music.
Yeah. And I think in the beginning I was doing this nostalgia. I was reaching the 35 to 55-year-old crowd that was like, oh, I forgot about that song in college. And I just grew that fan base that way. Yeah. So that helped a ton.
How do you decide what transitions to post up? Was it just sort of a trial and error to see what hit or not?
Yeah, sometimes I'm inspired by maybe current events. If, NSYNC is maybe coming back to do a tour, it's like, oh, maybe I'll try to drop something like that.
Right.
But for the most part, it's just transitions I think are interesting.
Right.
Or
no, it seems like you
genuinely
love the stuff that you're putting out there. Mm-hmm. And then some of them will just strike a chord, obviously, like the Morgan Wallen, Warren G one, right?
Yeah.
That one was nuts. I feel like that's probably your biggest one, right?
Yeah, on paper it was a different video, but that video was spread around. There's so many different accounts.
Right.
Like it's not even trackable.
Right.
Like,
because people would download it, repost it, duet it, like do all different things. And Warren G ended up seeing it, right, and saying, "Yo, we should make a song out of this." And
the moment Warren G FaceTimed me to talk about how do we make this happen, and he's in his studio and it says Regulators behind him. I'm like,
how
he's a legend. Like one of the first CDs I owned was his. Oh,
that's amazing.
This is cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's incredible. So what things? So once you started doing that and you got to that point, like what changed? Was there a noticeable change at some point when you hit 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, or one video went viral? Was there any sort of noticeable change at a certain time, or was it just a gradual thing?
So in March of 2022, I'd only been on for less than a year on TikTok.
Right.
I posted Big Booty by Cash Out into Chris Stapleton, You Should Probably Leave.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had about 150,000 followers on TikTok.
Okay.
I posted that video and it went viral right away. And within a month, I did the Morgan Wallen Warren G.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as I posted that Chris Stapleton one, within a week or two, it had, I don't know, like 10 million views. And I was getting...
Wow.
So think of, in my mindset and what my life was, I was doing local events in Idaho. I had goals of doing big things, but this is what I was doing.
Right.
At that point, I get a call from this lady who wants to fly me out on her private jet for this event in the Bahamas. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is fantastic.
Oh my
but
God.
it was that all of a sudden I was just flooded with leads and opportunities like that.
Right. And you don't even know what's real or not, right?
I don't. Yeah, that one ended up not working out.
I was going to say,
me. I was like, it was like almost too good to be true. And I'm like, I don't even know if this person's real.
And then what happened? She just
fell off.
Yeah.
I sent the contract, asked for the money, and nothing happened.
It
was weird.
You asked for the money.
So it was a trip. Like,
No, but I mean, that's so much stuff like that. That's the thing. It's hard. Like, you don't know, who's real or who's not. And that's where
I've gotten better at it.
Managers and stuff. I know we've had this conversation off the air, was like about having managers and booking agents and lawyers and different people involved and whether it's beneficial or not. And that can be a place where it's helpful because you can just focus on your own things and have somebody else dealing with that kind of stuff and sussing it out to see if it's real or not, and kind of,
which I'm still doing it on my own.
You are.
Yeah. But that was the point. That was the point where my life changed.
Okay.
Dramatically.
Right.
And at that point I had to put filters on my, like, financial filters on my contact page on my website so that I wasn't just getting every single possible lead from across the nation. Because
what do you mean financial filters?
Like budget. Is your budget start at this? Because I was getting leads from all over the nation that were, their budget was like $1,000 to do this wedding on a Saturday and whenever. And I'm like, I can't do that. And I was trying to answer all of these leads and it was just taking up so much of my
like,
time.
do my kid's birthday party. And you're like, yo, you don't understand what you're asking right now.
100%.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so financial filter in the sense of that you had a reply ready to go, or
they had to click a button that said, what's your budget? Before they could send me an inquiry.
And that's through TikTok or through anything?
That was through, so I was guiding people to my website.
Okay.
So it was a contact page on my website. They'd go to TikTok. Sometimes they'd send me DMs, but I tried to set it up so it said book now, go to a link tree. Then it would say, contact me here. It would send to the contact page. So it was like a nice funnel.
Right.
But I had to put the budget on there to get basically serious inquiries only.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, those first couple months were just nuts.
Oh my God,
trying to manage all of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and that was mainly through TikTok, but then you went back to Instagram and sort of were feeding Instagram the TikTok videos and building your Instagram back up as well, right?
Yeah, so I started posting Instagram early on, but it wasn't getting a lot of attention on Instagram. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for the year. And then the summer of 2022, I decided I'm going to try this again and try to recreate what I did on TikTok and do it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I went from a couple thousand followers to, I don't know, it just took off right away.
Yeah.
A couple viral videos,
Right.
and it just has been continuing to grow.
Right.
But that's where the Warren G. Morgan Wallen mashup actually blew up, was earlier this year.
On Instagram.
It was on Instagram.
Okay.
It got like 8-9 million follows or views on TikTok, but on Instagram is when people started to take the sound and make videos using that sound.
Okay.
Like a DJ, like there's this comedian guy who he didn't have a big following, but he did one of those, like he was pretending he was a DJ and it said, when your white friend requests country a hip hop set.
Oh, I saw him. I saw that video.
And he's like looking over. He's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
And he plays Morgan Wallen, and his video is actually what made it blow up.
Totally, because I saw that video as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people started reacting to it in their cars.
Right. Like what
they're
is
listening to
this?
the hip-hop
Oh, you're
station
right.
and-
This does go. Oh, this sounds good.
yeah.
I saw
It just went all, I mean, it was everywhere.
Wow.
Have
Have you ever talked to that guy?
Yeah, a little bit on the back end.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I was actually kind of mad at him at first because he didn't give me any credit.
Right.
So people would come to me and I'd say, hey, no, that's I made that.
Because it didn't even give you credit in the sound.
No, because he made it his own sound.
That's what I hate that.
It's
But
so it's
I feel
weird.
like now it's starting to do what YouTube does, where it hears it and makes it. Like I posted a
It
video
is doing that
recently
now. Yeah.
and I just had a song going in the background and then it credited that song automatically. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So
Yeah.
maybe things, it's getting better at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it sucks, when it just says original audio and you're like, no, that's my thing.
I
Or
want
I
some
know where
credit.
that's from.
Yeah, at first I was just kind of upset with him about it, but then I confronted him on the back end, not in a bad way, but I was like, hey man, you didn't give me any credit.
Yeah.
And he was really apologetic, and then that's when I realized, okay, let's do this in a positive way.
Right.
All these videos are out there without my name on it. I want to get some credit for it, and I want to build my brand.
Yeah.
And let people know that I made that. I made that mix.
Right.
So I just went I had my people, my followers, tag me anytime they saw the video and I wasn't tagged in it. So I had
that's cool.
I had them all do a lot of work for me.
That's
and help
great.
me. And when I get tagged, I'd go in the comment section and be like, "Yo, thank you for making a video with the song I made."
That's great. And then people
and
know
then-
to go to you and go, oh, he also
he
has
made
the
it.
Chris Stapleton one or, whatever else.
Yeah, and so it grew my page. I had to really hustle to do that, but that helped grow my page.
Oh, that's cool.
People would be annoyed by it, like, "Oh, here he is again in this video talking about whatever."
Like,
I was
sorry,
you know
I made
what?
the damn sound.
I made the sound, and I want to make the most of it.
Yeah,
Why not?
that's cool. No, it's a good approach. I didn't think about that. And also, I think there's something of the marriage of the hip hop and the country, which I think strikes some kind of nerve with people too, because it's so separate in people's mind. Anybody that likes hip hop would hate country, and anybody that likes country would hate hip hop in the generalization. Obviously that's not true, but
Yeah.
So I think that seeing it go so well together, and I think that's where that guy's video hit that X
It resonated with
factor,
everybody.
because you're like, wait, this guy, it's like, and his facial expressions with it, you know what I mean?
100%.
So I think you hit something with that, and then doing it again with the Chris Stapleton and some of the other ones you've made, it feeds into that. It's almost like that's not your genre. I've seen you do a lot of other cool, interesting mixes, but I think that's a thing you're known for in
I'm
a
known
way,
for that
right?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that's cool to make your thing, in a way, like the hip hop country mashup person,
Yeah.
that also can do anything else, obviously, but
Yeah, that would, for sure. I don't want to only do that.
Of
I don't
course.
think I'd be fulfilled trying to just go the whole country hip hop route. But
no,
it's
but
fun
I
to
think
weave
it's
it
a
in
cool
and-
thing to build on and to be known for. And
Yeah.
just like any artist, they all start with this thing that they're known for. And then as they get known as just someone who's talented, then they can branch out into anything else they want and
Yeah.
put out all the different things.
And I'm so
go for it.
I'm so grateful that I
Yeah.
figured that
Did that.
out, did that,
Right.
and I'm so grateful for the guy that made the video.
Right.
Like, I was upset at first, but I'm like, man, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, all these people are sharing. They may not be tagging me, but like, how cool. Like,
Right.
they're exposing it all out, putting it out there for me.
Yeah,
so.
you never know what's going to help. Something that seems bad could end up being good in the long run.
Yeah.
And just putting the stuff out there, and ideas are infinite. You know what I mean? There's always going to be new music, so you're just breaking down the Jack Harlow thing and putting the sample and showing people what it was. And like, that didn't exist a month ago. Like, there's always going to be new things and new ideas. And obviously you're talented and have a certain ability to hear music in a certain way different than other people. And that's what makes you unique. And so you're always going to have new things, whether someone takes it. That's what happens with mixes I make up. Someone does it and it's like, okay, well, we just have to come up with new ones, Yeah.
Well, I mean, we DJs have millions of sounds and songs to choose from. Like,
exactly.
I could, if I just sat in my room and just made transitions all day, I would never run out.
Right. Exactly.
If I wanted to. I mean, like, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's a gift, man.
Totally. And so kind of getting the sense that TikTok helps you get this credibility, leads, ability to say, I have 1 million follower type thing. But that Instagram, sometimes I've noticed this from other people I've talked to too, is somewhat more tapped into sometimes the corporate businesses, the big, huge event planners, the big corporations that might invite you to come do a gig. So like you got approached by, I think you said Chevy, right? To do something, and that was through Instagram. So is that something that, am I right about that? That Instagram can be more impactful with 400 something thousand followers than TikTok with 1.3 million. Not that TikTok's not doing anything, but that you might get some bigger business deals or meet some more impactful people and long-term relationships through Instagram.
100%.
Okay.
Instagram is where the business is at.
Right.
Is how I view it.
Yeah.
I have gotten business from TikTok, but
of course,
for example, Chevy, it's amazing. Like a lot of CEOs of execs at corporations follow me and on Instagram, not TikTok. They're hanging out on Instagram.
Totally. And I think that's an important fact that like maybe their kids see you on TikTok, but they also just follow you, scroll past. Like it's not as, I'm more involved in people's lives that I follow on Instagram than TikTok. TikTok, I see them like once in a while, maybe mixed with 1 million other people I don't know. Instagram, I see the same people all the time. So I kind of know what they're doing, and I see their life. So I think that, and like the CEOs of every corporation are on there, and they're going to be more likely to follow you on there than TikTok. But the TikTok can help you in the pitch deck when they're pitching to the CEO, hey, let's book this guy. We want to give him 10, 20, 30, whatever, $1,000. He has 1.3 million TikTok followers. I think that will help also with the negotiations in a way. So it's not something to ignore or say bad,
it gives
right?
you credibility.
Yeah. And it bolsters your numbers and gives you more leverage in the negotiations probably and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not to make everything business, but
Well, I mean, it is a business.
Yeah, exactly.
So it all benefits the goals that I have for my life and such. So yeah.
That's cool. And what about like the reposting thing? Like I know that even with some of my videos, like you constantly gain new followers. So like I'll post a video and then a year later or however long later, I'll post that again and I'll just get some of the same people and all kinds of new people commenting, sharing, and it's a whole new thing. So it almost feels like it's helpful to repost videos on a consistent basis in a way, especially the popular ones. Is that true or something you've noticed?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Like I repost my best videos all the time.
Okay.
So I've probably posted the Warren G one 4 or 5 times maybe.
Right.
And it just went, I reposted it last week and it's at, I think, 2 or 3 million views.
The new one.
Same old video from 2022. I reposted it again. It went viral.
So
I just think about it like, okay, if I have, so let's say when I originally posted it, I had 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now I have 400,000. That's 300,000 followers that may not have seen that. Maybe they've seen that one, but a different video.
Right.
And then there are millions and millions and millions of people that have never seen who I am. If it gets out there, that's a whole nother group of people that can see it. Why not use my best stuff over and over, but not too much to help it get more exposure?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Reposting is great.
Okay.
And we have at least my videos, they're kind of timeless.
Yeah.
I'm not reposting an old, live DJ set from whenever.
Right.
We're like, oh, that's old. Like, that party happened a year ago. It's just, you never know when that video came out.
Right. Totally.
Until I start looking old. And then
you're like, remember back then I did the Morgan Wallen transition.
Did you get Botox?
Yeah. You're like doing an ad for Botox. You're like, I'm sponsored by the Botox company. Okay. That's interesting. And so what about like, were your most surprising followers? Have you had people reach out to you that you couldn't believe? I know we discussed Warren G. Obviously that was insane. Is there anyone else that you've been like, this person's following me, or they reached out, or they reposted that you're like, holy crap, this is nuts?
Yeah. I mean, there's just a few randoms, like I grew up loving Ken Griffey Jr., for example.
Of course.
He follows me,
What? That's so cool.
Just people like that.
Like
that
we had
are
his baseball
iconic.
card. Yeah.
Exactly.
So cool.
I don't know, man. There's a country artist, Jake Owen, that follows me. We've had some conversations. He's on Morgan Wallen's label, and
Nice.
he's just like a good dude. Yeah, I mean, Salt and Peppa have shared my stuff, and
So
just
dope.
some iconic
Yeah.
names that. It's pretty cool.
Right. And and you mentioned something earlier that was interesting about public speaking and personal development, and that's something you had to work on to be able to even do these videos and to feel comfortable in these situations. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah. So I was a shy DJ. And when I started doing weddings, I realized I can't be a shy DJ because I have to actually MC. I would literally, when the bride would come to me and say, hey, will you let people know it's time for dinner? We need to go to this other room. I'd grab the mic and set it down and go walk around and be like, hey, everybody, it's time for dinner. Hey, it was so bad that I was so scared to get on a microphone that I finally just was like, I have to overcome this fear, and went to Toastmasters for 4 years and learned how to not be afraid of public speaking, learn how to have good.
So wait, what is that? What's Toastmasters?
It's basically a speech club that
cool.
you are surrounded by. It's kind of like a safe space, if you will, of people that support you, and you give speeches and you learn how to speak impromptu speeches and have good interpersonal personal communication.
Right.
Very beneficial. And I learned how to look people in the eyes when I'm talking to them, which is what I do on video. Like I'm looking at them and connecting with them. And I think that skill specifically has really helped me connect with people through social media. And it's helped me just have the confidence to put myself out there like that. I don't think if I didn't overcome that fear, I probably would never go out on social media like that.
Yeah, you seem very comfortable in your videos, and you do have a professional way of talking to people, but chill, not like salesman.
Casual.
That's cool. Yeah. So Toastmasters is like sort of a nationwide thing or something, or
worldwide.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a worldwide.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I listened. So my brother sent me that book, like I said, in 2011, and that just took me down this rabbit hole of personal development. And I listened to this guy named Jim Rohn. He's a business philosopher.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's great. And he talked about Toastmasters, and then I looked it up, and I was like, we have 5 different clubs in my area. They're all over the place.
Oh, cool.
So I went to those. Yeah,
that's great. What are some other personal development things or books or people like that you've checked out?
I'm trying to think about that. So one of the things that I did over the last 4 years or so is a program called 75 Hard, which is
I've heard of that.
A mental toughness program. You're doing like 2 workouts a day,
drinking water, reading books,
a ton of water. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. I looked it up because I see people posting online. I'm like, oh my God, can I do this? Is it beneficial? Like, did you like it? Was it helpful?
Some of the most amazing things have come to me, has
happened to you, like by doing it.
A lot of amazing things have come through my business because of me being on 75 Hard, because I'm so locked in mentally. I've created so much momentum in my life that I'm getting shit done. I'm more productive.
How often do you do it? I mean, you can't do it all the time, right?
No, you can't. I've completed it 3 times.
It's like a master cleanse or something, right? Like you do it and then you wait a long time.
Well, I feel like you do it once, and if you really do it the right way, you're going to create some new, habits.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, some new habits that stick with you. Not all of them, but you get some, and then you just build on that.
Okay.
So I just continue to do it every, at least once a year.
Wow.
The reason I went and set that 30-day goal was because there's an extension of 75 Hard, which is like this phase where you have to set, not only do all those, but you have to do 3 like powerless tasks a day. 3 things that'll move you forward in your life.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I set the 5 to 7 Instagram stories for 30 days.
Okay.
So because of that program, I set that goal and all those things.
Right.
But I'm all about that. Like, can I get a little bit better?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I'd set big goal, or not younger, but in my business in 2011, 2012, I'd set some big goals. And that Jim Rohn guy, he said, don't set a goal to become a millionaire just to become a millionaire.
Right.
Set a goal to be a millionaire because of what you have to, the person you have to become in order to be that millionaire, to set that, get that goal. And so those are the things that's the way I've always approached my business and life, is just
that's interesting.
Thinking that way.
That's cool.
How can I be a little bit better?
Who came up with 75 Hard, I wonder?
His name's Andy Frisella, and he owns First Form, which is a supplement company in St. Louis, Missouri. And he came up with it. And
crazy.
It's all over. Everybody's
it's everywhere. Yeah, it's like all over Instagram and everywhere. I see people doing it, but I get it. I mean, I think personal development is like a big thing for everybody now. It never used to be so all over the place, but I think it can help you in so many ways. It's cool to see how it's helped you.
Yeah, I think it's just being the best version of yourself.
Right.
Like, how can you do that? And then you show up, and that shows up in your business, that shows up in your family life, and everywhere. So
cool. It's inspirational.
I'm not perfect by any means. Don't get me wrong.
No, of course, no one is. But I think there's people that can acknowledge that, and there's people that don't. So
yeah, and I just think that's something that I feel like I need to tell people. It's like that's an important part of my journey.
Yeah,
I had to overcome a lot of mental insecurities and things like that to get to a point.
Totally, sounds like it, and I think a lot of DJs do. A lot of us got into it for that reason, like you said, of just doing the music and as a hobby and just for fun. We didn't think this would be our job or something. We would put our whole, be having to think from a business-minded standpoint and supporting a family through literally DJ gigs, and owning DJ companies. Yeah, totally. So I think to keep trying to grow and get better through that is like what we need to do. Otherwise just kind of be stagnant or just doing the same thing over and over.
100%. Yeah.
So I know we mentioned earlier this week you were in Vegas and you got to play a private event at XS, which is just one of the, iconic, most incredible clubs in Vegas and in the world. Yeah. So that must have been incredible. You want to tell us about that? What was the gig? How was it? What was your experience like? How was Vegas? Tell us everything.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I had not played in a Vegas club before.
Okay.
It wasn't public, it was private, but that place was packed. It was Exponential Fitness. They have a show every year for their employees. It's a big company party end of the year thing, and it was pretty epic. So it was me, and then I didn't know until last week that I was opening for Ludacris.
Oh wow!
So that was pretty. Yeah, I was pretty stoked about that. But it's funny because the owner is about my age, and his daughter, who I think is about 10, daughter or son, I think it's a daughter, picks the DJ for each of these parties. So last year, I think it was DJ Precise and maybe Snoop.
Oh, wow.
The people that were in.
Yeah.
And,
so this is coming from TikTok.
It came from TikTok. The daughter got to pick it. She's like, I want that TikTok DJ.
That's amazing. Because Precise is huge on TikTok,
he's
too.
He's massive. Yeah, he's so cool and good. And
wow.
So when I heard that, I was like, that's awesome. I was honored. So they hit me up right after their last year's party. So I got to do it. Amazing experience.
That's so cool.
Yep.
That's great. I mean, those corporate gigs are amazing, right? Like I did one last week too for like a huge company, and I played, and then they surprised everybody by having a full performance from Pitbull, like in the middle of my set. And it was just amazing to watch, and like these companies have just crazy budgets and, go all out for their employees. And that's a fun thing too, as being in this quote unquote corporate world, but doing the cool corporate stuff is fun. And some of the internal parties, like I'll go next month and I'll do this 2-day party for Zoomies. And I mean, just watching the way they treat their employees is so inspirational and so cool, and be like, oh my God, they're doing all this for them. And I've done this party for over 15 years, like every year, and seen them bring out everybody from like Lil Wayne to, like Odd Future to Dead Mouse, and the kids never know, the employees never know what's going to happen, and they're so surprised. And it's cool to be part of that, and just like everybody's so happy and so grateful and so thankful, and such a different experience than a nightclub. And the rates and the budgets are better. I mean, if a place is renting out XS and they're booking Ludacris, they probably have more money, but not just money, like they respect you as an artist DJ more, you know what I mean? You get treated better, and I think they respect your skills and your ideas and what you're bringing to the table, rather than a club that's just going to go, all right, just play this shit, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, you get that's spot on.
Right.
Even coming from the mobile DJ world,
Yes.
where the DJs aren't necessarily that respected.
That's a private event, one thing, but then there's like the different types of private events that like will treat you on a different level, you know, right?
Yeah.
For those,
you have
kind of
everything
things.
you need. I'm like, you're asking me if I have everything I need?
Oh my God. When they're like, what do you need in your green room? Hospitality. I'm like, salami and crackers. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man.
That's great.
I love it. Yeah.
So cool. I'm glad you're getting to experience that. I'm sure there'll be much more to come. And you've been negotiating it all yourself and doing it all.
Yeah.
Figuring it out.
Just learning and talking to people like you. And I have some other,
Yeah,
DJs
we
that
got on a
to,
call.
like,
I was happy to, tell you. You said you talked to Precise? Or no?
A little bit. I've hit him up.
Okay.
Yeah, but...
or no, what did you just say? Sorry, I interrupted.
I was just saying I have a couple other, people that I've reached out to that have supported me, and like, what do I do here?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, I feel like I knew my world before this happened, and now I'm in this sort of no man's land for me.
Yeah.
Because it's not my world. Well, it is now, but I had to kind of start over and make sure I make the right moves and decisions and charge the right amount and make sure I'm not getting screwed over.
Right.
I don't know, flights and all the things.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's hard. Like, I heard you on another podcast that was not a DJ based podcast, but you were talking about raising rates and different things like that. And, I thought that was interesting. There's no like book for DJs to know how much to charge. I'm always of the school of like, charge more, you know what I mean? And just get them to negotiate. And then obviously if they're hard on the price, then you have to decide if you're going to walk away or not. But I think a lot of DJs' rates at like clubs and for mobile things have stayed stagnant for like 20 years, and like everybody's scared to raise it up because they're just like, I don't know. And I'm lucky to be doing this. But it's like, as an industry, we should be helping each other by all raising rates and communicating. Like, I'm in a chat with a couple of my really good friends, and he got offered a crazy wedding in like Italy, and he's like, I don't know what to say, and da-da-da. And then so I get my other friend on the chain, and we've both done things like that, and we're like, I would say this. Oh, I would say this. Oh, cool. Okay, I might do this. And we just give our experience to each other to try to help each other out and allow, hopefully, him to get a large amount of money, which is fair. We're in no way trying to rip off the client, but we're trying to show that it takes a lot of time to go all the way to Italy. Yes, it's really cool, but it's taking a lot of time out of your life, and the amount of prep that's going to go into the DJ set is huge. You know what I mean? For that wedding, like, we're going to spend days, weeks, like researching music. This gig I'm going to do next week, like, oh my God, the amount of specific things they want me to do in these types of music and artists and things, it's very specific, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm going to charge a high amount, and we started at a higher amount. They gave me a lower amount. Then we negotiated to a point where we're both happy, and like, that's what I think some DJs are scared to do. But I think as long as you figure out a way to word it correctly, and that's where like, learning to write and speak is very helpful, right? And be like concise with your words and be, not like confrontational, just be open to things, but also strong and not like weak. Like, oh no, I'm sorry. Is it okay? Like, this is what's up. This is how much I usually charge. This is what I do for these kind of things. Obviously, I want to work with you. It's our first time working together. I want to build a relationship. Like, let me know what works on your side. And there's ways to speak to people, right? And raise your rates, I guess.
That's spot on. That's one thing I always studied the last like 5 years is sales. Like the podcast you heard me talk about that on, the guy is named Alan Berg, and he's this wedding pro sales kind of guru guy.
Right.
It's really smart.
He had some interesting
points. I bought his books and I studied his books, and I go, how do you formulate an email from a lead that's coming in? How do you respond? And I just took that, studied it, and now use it for outside of the wedding industry, and it's benefited me a lot. That's
great.
You got to know how to communicate.
Yes.
And do it the right way, confidently.
Yeah. He had some cool points like about that, and then deciding that you're only in a certain price range, and then figuring out how many gigs you'd have to work per year to be happy with filling those in the price range. So, because every DJ I think is addicted to being like, I want to DJ every night, bro, and like have this calendar that's like every night I'm DJing. It's like, but okay, if you're DJing every night for $100, like you're gonna burn out and become an alcoholic or die, or it's like there has to be
it all depends on what you want.
It depends on what you want. But at the end of the day, as we grow up and try to like make it into a real business and be able to like pay a mortgage and health insurance and all that stuff, you want to be able to work smarter, not harder, I guess.
I think so. And I just am motivated to change my family tree, if you will.
Yeah.
And say, it's like, how do I become a millionaire as a DJ?
Yeah.
In little Boise, Idaho, doing weddings. How can I do that?
Yeah.
And I just like trying to work towards it. It's like,
it's possible.
And I'm going to charge $10K, 20, like I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And, it's huge.
Yeah. And
those were my goals. Right.
Right.
Like,
which is
it's all possible.
Yeah.
And I think we do get stuck in that rut of, no, this is what you charge if you're in a club. This is what you charge if you're locally doing, some corporate event. They only cap at 2,500.
Yeah.
But do they?
Right.
We have decided that. I don't think necessarily the clubs or the people have decided that. If the people hiring you, like we've decided that collectively.
Right.
So I think there's opportunity for all of us if we just came together and tried to grow and try to make more money. It could be possible.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then just figure out ways to explain to them your value and how you can work together. And
sure.
And if it's someone that's going to hire you for 100 events, is it someone that's just going to be this one time? There's so many different factors that go into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever the same.
And I'm still trying to navigate all of that too.
Me too.
It's like never ending.
Oh, it's nonstop. I mean, even next week, like I'm doing this event and I'm doing this thing for Netflix, like the Rebel Moon. They're coming out this movie, Rebel Moon. And I'm DJing the red carpet and the after party. So that alone is a different negotiation because I have to be there at like 5:00, DJ the red carpet from 5:30 to 7:30 as they come down, do interviews. The 5:30 to 6:30 is to like hype up the crowd who's going to be like on Hollywood Boulevard waiting for the celebrities to come. The celebrities are going to come 6:30 to 7:30. And they need the music to be cleared already by Netflix, because if they're interviewing this big celebrity and then they want to put it on every news station, they can't have crazy music in the background. Right. So I'm working with the Netflix music team to try to get songs from the movie that could still work as a DJ. And then it's Netflix's final sort of big, huge party and premiere of the year. So they want the after party, which is like a 3-hour after party till 1 a.m. They want everyone to dance and go crazy. So then I have to work really hard to make that happen, And so
that's a lot.
To me, that's studying the actors, the director, anybody that's going to be in the movie. Is there any clues I can get onto who they are, what age, where they're from, what kind of music they might like? Have they posted a playlist? I'll go crazy trying to hit every angle on that.
And that's worth something.
Exactly. So that I was like, why am I even saying this? But but I think it stemmed from me saying like that's what you bring to the table and that's your worth. And that's why you try to charge more and negotiate. And then if they say, okay, we just have this amount, then I decide, okay, will I do that? Yes. I mean, it's a high profile gig. It's really cool.
Amazing opportunity.
Done so much work with them. They've hired me on a consistent basis. So I'll work with them on whatever, their rates are, which,
and you kind of know, if you're getting an insulting reply.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So forget it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Right.
Do it for
and a lot of that stuff for me comes from relationships with event planners too, which I think a lot of the DJs see like, oh, you're working with this brand. And like, yes, you can get in with the brand event people and that's good as well. But you want to get in with event planners because these event planners are the people that will be selling you to everyone. They'll sell you to Netflix, Hulu, NBC Universal, HBO, and everybody because they're doing events for everyone. Or these wedding planners will be doing they have relationships with the event planner in the Bahamas, Mexico, everywhere, Tuscany, Italy, and so they'll be like, I know this great DJ from Boise, we should fly him out. And so like those are the different people I think it's important for people to realize to develop their relationship with as well.
That's a really great point because this year I was just taking anything that kind of came my way.
Right.
But I'm realizing, it's more about establishing kind of the core group of I can't think of the word. I have actually a folder in my Gmail that's industry connections.
Yeah,
right? It's like those are the people I want to work with. Those are the cities I want to go to. Like I'm starting to figure that stuff out. So I'm not just all over the place, but I'm really building strong foundation of relationships with planners and
the planners are the best. Love you, event planners.
100%.
But I mean, it's insane. Like I love them. You know what I mean? Like they are. I just like can't express to them how grateful I am for them to, recommend me for these things. There's like these things I constantly do. I'm going to Sundance Film Festival next month, and it's got to be over 15 years I've been working with this one event planner that I'm doing it with.
That's
and
cool.
It's just like I'm so appreciative that every year she'll try to sell me to Chase Sapphire, whatever brands, and explain why I'm valuable to them, and I will make them have the best party ever. And if they have a movie premiere, I'll study the people for the movie and do that kind of set, almost like a music supervisor. If they have a special party for Chase Sapphire Reserve card holders, I'll make it the craziest party ever, like we're in Vegas or something, and whatever they need me to do, I can bring that to the table, so it's those relationships, and then being a good person within all of it, doing a good job when you're there.
Are you fun to work with? Yes. Are you easy to work with? Are you like multidimensional in the way you DJ?
Yeah.
I think that is beneficial in what you do.
Yeah.
What we do.
Totally.
Yeah.
That was another thing I heard Alan say on that podcast was like, someone said to him, "Oh, you're the most expensive person we work with, but you're the easiest person to work with." And I'm like, that's not a bad thing to be. And he wasn't saying it was bad, but I think don't be afraid to be that person, be
easy to work with.
There's a reason why you're expensive, and you're also easy to work with, and you're going to do the exact job they want, and you want to make the event planner look good, because everybody has a boss to look good to.
Yeah.
In the nightclubs and all of it,
Yeah.
Oh man, we got so many cool, gems. I feel like we're dropping for people. So have you worked with other like business coaches and people like that?
I have a personal business coach.
You do?
She's like in local to Boise, and she's like my psychologist / business coach.
Oh, cool.
And she helps me get clear on what, my goals are, my intentions, and then helps me create some plans to, move forward on my goals.
How often do you meet with her?
Once every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So we'll meet for about an hour. We just had one, kind of a deep dive. It was longer than that to kind of help me set my goals and intentions for 2024. And
how did you meet her? Like, how did that even come about?
I just put it out on Facebook after I dismantled my multi-op DJ company.
Yeah.
I just like, I need a business coach, like someone that can help me. So I just put it out on Facebook, and she came up a couple times. I messaged her, and now since 2020, right before the pandemic.
Wow. So she's seen your whole journey. Oh my God.
I've seen her journey too. She was kind of new and up and coming, and
really,
but I just really resonated with her style, and it's been
very cool,
very beneficial.
Oh, that's great. It's almost like therapist / business coach.
It's a mix, man. Yeah, she helps me when I'm, because who you are, the way you think, like that all reflects in your business.
Mm-hmm.
If you're down, you're not going to be as productive or as effective. If you're, I don't know. But she helps me kind of see things in a different way.
Yeah.
So I love meeting up with her.
Great. That's cool. And you also have a radio show that you do, right?
Yeah, a local like party station hit me up.
Okay.
Recently, and so now I do a weekly Saturday show on Wild 101.
Nice.
Like a free app, so I can like actually share it with my followers who aren't in town.
Right. People can listen
on the weekends, and
How do you like that? Is that hard to keep up with?
Bro, honestly, man, it's a 2-hour set each week, and
sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. I think it's too much, to be honest with you. But,
I get stressed out about trying to change my set every week in a lounge live, like a 3-hour set. So I can't imagine doing it on an app. Like you want to have it different every time.
I can't. I don't think I can do it different every single time.
No, you can't. It's the radio
songs you have to play,
right?
Too.
The rotations, the heavy rotations.
So songs in the A category have to be played 2 to 3 times in an hour, and B's have to 1 to 2 times, and so it's a lot of doing my style with what they need me to play.
Right.
But it's been fun. It's a really good learning experience.
Yeah.
And,
nice.
I like it. Keeps me fresh on
And where can
music.
people listen?
You could just say, "Hey Alexa, play Wild 101."
Oh, okay.
And it'll pop up. Or there's an app, Wild 101.
Okay. And
Yeah,
when's
so
the
you can check it
show?
out. Saturday nights from Mountain Time, so 8 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
It's a 2-hour set repeated.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you do like nightclub type stuff in Boise, or mainly just you've been in the event world one way or another?
Mostly the event world, although I'm itching to play out again. So locally. So I was talking to my friend Drew Pierce about this before I came on. I'm like, man, I need a spot, because he plays at the Bungalow.
He plays Bungalow.
And you're doing like the Floor Room, and like we have little venues like that in Boise. Like why can't I do those a couple times a month and just stay out there, stay fresh?
What's the scene like? Do you go out at all, or are you just more family? I know it's hard for me to go out.
It's so hard to go out. Like, I know. But we have some cool lounges and some decent. It's a Boise State University's there, so there are like college bars and places like that. But there are some swankier places too.
Right.
But yeah,
nice.
It's decent, but it's
not
hard.
I know. I have tonight. It's actually one time I DJ'd last night, and you got to come. I'm glad you and Drew got to come to my gig. Yeah, so cool. We had the Beatport 20th anniversary last night, and we got to go this crazy hangar. I don't know what it was. What even was that? We were at the Burbank airport. It was like, that was at the airport. Like, it was behind the airport.
I know, a plane flew
no, we were in the airport. Like, that's the airport I prefer to fly out of. Like, when I go to anywhere, Vegas or Salt Lake City, I try to get flights from there, because tiny airport, it's so easy to deal with, and it's way closer to my house. But we were in like what I thought was going to be an airplane hangar, but it was some sort of venue there. But pretty dope. They had a bunch of different DJs. When I walked in, Miles O'Neill was playing, and he's Shaq's son.
Shaq's son, right?
And he was killing it, dude. Like, I was Shazamming some of his stuff. I couldn't even get it. He played some remix of Flashlight, George Clinton. That was really dope.
I didn't hear that.
That was the one I was like, I gotta get that. I tried to find it. I'm gonna search this weekend. But then Cascade played. It was like 7 p.m. and like Cascade's playing like the most epic set, and I'm like,
so good.
Middle of the day. It felt like
got dark.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that was really cool. So
it was fun. Ran
into so many people there, and then you guys got to come to my gig. So it was a long night. I was like so tired this morning.
I bet. Same here.
But I'm off tonight and tomorrow, which is such a weird thing. It's like the first weekend I'm like fully off, and there's a bunch of events. I even saw some people last night. They're like, come out to my thing. And I'm like, oh, I want to go out. But then I just talked to my wife, and she's like, we have to leave at 7 a.m. for the soccer tournament in Anaheim. And I'm like, there comes that life balance thing. That's where it's like hard to go out, because I'm like, there's this spot I want to go tonight, and it's dope DJ, but then I'm like, I'm gonna feel horrible, and it won't even get going till like 11:30, and then
you're not getting any sleep.
So I'm probably not going, sadly.
Yeah, there's that balance. Like, okay,
what's clone?
For sure.
The robot version of me to be able to go.
Sunglasses, hat, hoodie.
Yeah,
looks like hiding out.
Well, because then I feel like crap all day at his soccer game, and it's like, where do you want to feel like shit? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to give him the worst version of myself.
Yeah, what do you want to give your?
It's
your
hard.
kids?
If it was work tonight, I would do it, and it's hard because that is kind of work going out. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And I saw also, I was just kind of going through your Instagram, and I saw that you went to the Adam Sandler show. Was that in Idaho?
That was.
Okay, so great. He's finishing. I know he's finishing the end of the tour this weekend. They're like in Oklahoma or like a few things, but they were in Vegas last week, and I wanted to go so bad. I went to the one in San Francisco. It was like the funniest thing ever.
He's amazing.
Oh my God.
I wasn't sure. I'm like, it's Adam Sandler. He's,
so good.
Is he still
right?
like funny? Like when I grew up watching him and listening to him.
No, it was beyond, right?
He was way better.
Like the whole show with like the music and like
he brought his daughter out at ours, and they sang a song together.
His daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
They traveled with her. So, yeah, it was a really cool.
That's
cool
amazing.
Experience. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I know. I got to I've DJ'd a bunch of his movie premieres for a lot of the movies. And then last summer I got asked to be like a consultant on that bat mitzvah movie that he made. It's called You Were So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, and there's a DJ in the movie, but he's just an actor. And they were like, can we hire you to, this was an example of not knowing how much to charge, because they're like, can we hire you to teach the actor how to be a DJ in the movie? And I was like, and they're like, how much do you usually charge? I'm like,
I mean,
usually, like, this is the first time I've been asked to do this. I'm like, usually I get about $1 million. I could maybe give you a break on that.
Yeah, what do you think?
But no, I definitely shot high and got the reply of, well, we don't have that kind of budget, but we can offer you this. And I was kind of thinking in my head, like, I would do this for free. This is incredible. So whatever you give me, yes,
Yeah.
But it was still like good money that I couldn't even believe I was getting paid to do it. But I went in, got to go to his office here in Pacific Palisades. It was a huge building, and I brought 3 different setups, like a Rev 7, CDJ 3000s, and S7. I brought S11 or 900 and turntables, and then I just showed the guy like how to use everything real quick, and then I showed him. I saved 1 million like TikTok and Instagram videos of DJs like doing stuff like heart hands and funny things that it would be funny to see a bar mitzvah DJ do.
Yeah.
So it was such a cool experience, And
awesome.
then I became friends with some of the people, and they were like, he's gonna do this show, and they invited me to the practice one that was here at this little tiny comedy club. So I got to see it before they went on that tour. And I was like, oh my
cool
God,
experience.
so cool.
Yeah.
And then they invited me to the San Francisco one. I got to go and watch like the big show. And that's when I was like, holy crap, this is incredible. Like what they're doing with this.
Yeah. His show was a blast.
I'm trying to get them to let me be an opener DJ. We'll see.
That's
That's my goal.
I hit up some comedians.
Actually. I want to do that
for you. I think it'd be a ton of fun.
That's what I'm saying. I think it would
come
be,
of it.
Right. I know. I got to open. They have this thing called the Netflix is a Joke Festival, and it's here. It's all these comics, and they let me open at some for that. And I think it would be, it's a cool combination to do like that. So one day,
I know, like Chappelle has his DJ
for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And Russell Peters is like huge, advocate of that. He used to have Spin Bad and starting from scratch. Spin Bad passed away, unfortunately, but they would do a 2x4 thing, like one on each side of the stage, but they'd both be doing it together. And it was like the dopest thing ever. And now like he'll have starting from scratch, and people travel around with him and do it.
That's
but
cool.
Yeah, it's cool to see them incorporate. And Russell Peters is a dope DJ himself too, the comedian. He's he's great. I've seen him, like he can cut it up and really good himself.
Yeah.
So he really respects DJs and brings them on tour and stuff like that.
For sure. I mean, because it's kind of like a concert, right? Like
Totally.
the headliner.
Yeah.
The opening DJ to the rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so I think
the
right combination. Exactly. You hype the crowd up, get them like having fun, then they can sit and laugh and be relaxed, and it's like an icebreaker or something.
Yeah, definitely.
What about, are there any other topics we didn't hit on that you want to like talk to people about, or things that are important to you? Or we could just discuss kind of goals for the future, like a little more in detail. Or what you have kind of coming up,
Man, I think it's just, navigating this new world for me has been a blast. And I see, going back to this public speaking thing,
yeah.
I've talked with some corporate event planners where like, I think there's opportunity for me to get booked to speak and to DJ. And I think
100%.
Doing some sort of hybrid, maybe I'm doing something the first day of the conference, somehow incorporating what I do with, corporate world, and then DJing there, that party that night, and finding ways to do both.
Yep.
And really bring value in a different way. And I think that could be a cool niche. For me.
I've seen people like Mick, Mick Boogie, who's called Mick, his Mick now, like he does a speaking as well as DJing thing. And this guy, DJ Graffiti, I know, he's, really deep in this corporate world and does so much great work and like really one of a kind stuff. He was kind of putting me onto the way he's doing it. And he just did this thing here, I think, where your daughter's having the cheer competition and my son's having the soccer tournament. He was doing some sort of convention there, and I think they asked him to do a real speaking engagement as well as DJ the party. Yeah. And he was telling me about it, and I think that is an opportunity for us. And even in the same way we're doing this podcast, and hopefully people are able to learn from it and get insights from it. You could put together something like that. Like when I went to the DJ Collective last year in Nashville, that opened my eyes in that sense too, watching some of the presentations some of the speakers did. They just had me on a panel, and just me being able to speak on the panel and then go DJ that night was so cool, because I had the same sort of vision. Like, man, I talk on this podcast all the time. I DJ these clubs all the time. It would be so cool to have sort of like a talking set in the way of a DJ set, you know, that has a purpose and a message and a mission behind it that I put together in a way that has examples and that can help some sort of group of people. You know, I haven't honed in on it yet either, but I feel a similar way because I feel like there is a lot of, I don't know, DJ self-help people out there right now. I've been noticing even with Instagram threads and stuff, like people notice that if you post these positive things, you get more engagement, but it's led to some sort of like almost false positive where it's just like people are just like trying to be helpful when it's like, yo, you're telling people how to get gigs, but I don't even know if you get gigs. You know, I've been seeing some people like that, you know, like, well, I've been noticing the self-help thing, especially in LA, is like huge. I meat a lot of people out here and I'm like, what do you do? Like, you're super rich, you know, you're portraying you're super rich or you're super successful, but I actually can not figure out what you actually do. And I'm seeing that you're taking a lot of money from people by teaching them how to be successful, but are they becoming successful? And are you even successful? So if I ever did it, and I imagine you too, I'd want it to be a genuine thing that actually is helping people in a way, you know, and I love
you've done something.
Yeah.
Right? Like you've done something with your life and business and you can give real information to them.
Yeah, I want to be able to help them and watch them grow and do something that could genuinely help someone, you know, and I love the educational side of it, you know, however that's tapped into. So I think, I think that's something you could definitely do, you know, and turn into something that you sell as well, you know what I mean? And be able to go and do the speaking and do the party. Cause there's not many people that could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's like an exploration. I don't want to say, I'm going to do this many a year. Like, let's just explore this and see how it goes and let it naturally evolve. Yeah. And see where it takes me. But I don't want to only do that. Right. Like I think,
no,
I'm in this like nice sweet spot where, you know, I'm in my 40s and it's like I still want to chase those like fun DJ dreams,
of course,
and go in on that before it's, I don't know, too late,
right?
If you will,
yeah.
I don't know when that would be, but
neither.
It's like I don't want to try to do too much.
Yes,
you know, still stay kind of focused, on music and such right now, but
totally
kind of explore that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's a really good goal and something that I think is achievable and is in your wheelhouse, you know, and like fits in. And then what about like any other tips like for DJs, I guess on any front? I mean, from either social media or actual DJing or running a business or anything that's on your mind that you think could help people out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the social media sense, if you're unsure about putting yourself out there, I think it's important that you do. And if you don't, if one thing you could do is go on, what am I trying to say? TikTok lives.
Yeah.
Even if you're not posting, if you could do TikTok lives and get some organic reach that way, you can start to build a following and start to build a culture around you and your music and your personality. Because TikTok lives, you can't go live on Instagram. You typically get kicked off for music copyright.
Right.
I've tried.
But TikTok just will have endless DJs. If I scroll through that live thing, I'll be like watching a person pulling like metal out of a river with a magnet and then like 10 DJs. I'm like, what is all this?
They're everywhere. But if you could do it consistently, I mean, I did that for a while. I don't have the time anymore, but I was really consistent with it. And I grew a pretty good following before I really blew up, but just through doing those lives.
Right.
And to this day, I have a group of, I call them my super fans. They're just really cool. But they're spread out all across the nation, but they are a group of friends now because of my TikTok live. So I've created this like little culture of friendships and people, and they stick with each other.
Yeah.
But a lot of opportunity on TikTok lives right now. And we as DJs have, I mean, it's so easy to go live. Like if you learn, you know, if you're just a real estate agent, what are you going to do when you're going live? Like,
right.
You got to get pretty creative. But I mean, like this is very engaging and can entertain people.
For sure. Well, we've seen it through Twitch. We've seen it through everything. And even at the Beatport party last night, it was funny the amount of people I met that I had to ask them if we've met in real life because I've been following them for 3-4 years and watching them all the time on streams and for hours at a time. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, I don't think we ever met before. Like, I feel like I know you, but like, but it's crazy how it can create that community and that feeling of knowing who each other are and stuff like that. And the streaming is still huge. I saw some women there last night that they're huge on Twitch, you know, and she was like, has this huge Sunday stream that's very successful. And it's still a thing that I think people are doing on Twitch or TikTok or wherever. I see D Nice on Instagram all the time still, you know.
He's able to mix live?
Yeah. He's the one.
He's the chosen one.
The chosen one.
I should get on Twitch, actually.
Twitch's dope. But I mean, you know, D Nice blew up off Instagram Lives and he's always been on it. I think Instagram appreciates him and probably gives him a bit of a pass on it. But he to see him still doing that after he's gotten to like 3-point-something million followers on there, he's booking massive gigs. You know, I did that Netflix Cup thing last week and he DJ'd the after party, and you know, he's the go-to guy for like so much stuff. I mean, it's insane. He's selling out huge venues, the Hollywood Bowl, you know, and doing concerts, and sky's the limit, man. You know, and he's in his 50s, so there is no too late, I don't think.
I think you're right. I know, as I was saying that, I'm like,
next thing you know, you're doing the Hollywood Bowl and Warren G and Morgan Wallen are doing it live in front of you, and you know, you're putting together
don't get me excited.
You know, you don't know, man. You could put together the first hip hop country festival where they perform with each other, you know, and Eric Rhodes presents.
Oh, okay.
There's stuff you never know, right?
I hear
there's ideas that I think you will never know until you try and think about, right?
That's a good point.
There's no too late, and things just keep developing, and as we see all this, you know, even metaverse and all this crazy stuff developing, AI, everything, you know, there things that we never thought of will pop up, I think.
Absolutely.
Amazing, man. Well, thanks for coming and sitting down and sharing all this knowledge with us. Is there anything else you want to say? I don't want to just, you know, end it like that, but
no, I think this has been a great conversation.
Me too.
I
loved it. Honestly, I'm looking up the books and the Toastmasters and all the things you mentioned. All that stuff is so interesting to me. You know what I mean? Like you said, I've done a lot of stuff, but like I love to constantly learn and constantly work on my career and myself and different things. And I want to be the best version of myself for everybody around me and for my career. And I think that's important. And, you know, the curiosity should never go away, you know, and the learning from stuff. So yeah, thanks for telling us all that stuff, and thanks for coming here. And you know, can't wait to see where you take things, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you soon.
All right. See ya.
All right. Thank you, Eric Rhodes, for taking the time to come down here. I'm so glad we were able to connect and you were in town and we made this happen in person. So many gems were dropped on this episode. I hope you guys took notes, and I hope it was as interesting to you as it was to me. The 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. You know, we're available everywhere. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. Tell your friends, write a review online, help us grow. You know, we love doing this with you, but we love doing this together. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.